So previously we talked about project selection, where based on internal and external factors, you listed down all the areas where you could improve. Then you did some filtration of that, and after that, let's say you agreed on one particular project to do, and then you need management approval for that. Because for doing this project, you would need number of team members which are coming from different departments, different groups. Management need to be committed for that. The department manager of those persons should be able to release those persons for attending this Six Sigma project meetings, doing some work which has been assigned to them as a part of Six Sigma. So how do we do that? For that, we need to create a document which is called as project charter. Project charter is basically management approval for doing this project. So by now you would have had a good business case that why you are doing this project, because by doing this project, this will save this much money for the company, this will increase the customer satisfaction by this much number. That is the business case. So what you do in this project charter is you list down that what's the business case of doing this particular project. Then you list down the problem statement. What is the problem which you are trying to improve upon? Then you list down the project scope, that what's the scope of this project. And when you say the scope of the project, you need to tell that what all items are in scope and what all items are not in the scope of this improvement project. Because one thing you need to remember is that any project, any improvement which you are doing has to be in a limited area only. You cannot have an open-ended project. For example, you cannot solve the world hunger problem as a Six Sigma project, because that's a too big a project. Project needs to be of the right size, not too small and not too big. So here you need to basically mark a line that these things will be included in the project, these things we are not including in the project. So that will be the project scope. Then you put your goals and objectives in this project charter, and then you list down what's the expected savings and the benefits, that's also listed down. And then you make the plan that when you are going to have all these 5 stages done by. So when are you starting the define phase? When the define phase will be completed. When you are starting the measure, analyze, improve and control phase. So you make a sort of a high level plan for that, and you list down the team members which are expected to be part of this. So this project charter now needs to be approved by the management. You might make something, have discussion with the management, make some changes, but after you have done all these things, you need to get this project charter signed by the management. Because once it's signed by the management, that means now the management is committed to the success of this Six Sigma project. So this is something which is done as a part of define phase. This is something which is the deliverable of the define phase. So once you have completed the define phase, you will have a good understanding of the process. How do you do that? That you would have done using SIPOC, which we talked earlier. So you have a good understanding of the process now. You have the management approval using this project charter, and then you will have further plans to complete this project. Those will be the deliverables for the define phase. But right now, let's talk about the project charter. Project charter will list down all these things and get you the management approval to go ahead with the project.